Hello and welcome to Female Cricket Live. The 17th match of the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup was played today between Bangladesh and West Indies, which West Indies went on to win by just 4 runs as they managed to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Batting first, West Indies were restricted to a modest score of 140 for 9 in 50 overs thanks to a disciplined bowling effort from Bangladesh. For Bangladesh, Nahida Akhtar and Salma Khatun were the pick of the bowlers as they picked up 2 wickets apiece, while for West Indies it was their wicketkeeper Shimen Campbell who top scored with an unbeaten 53. In reply, Bangladesh fought hard as they scored 136. However, they were bowled out in 49.3 overs to lose the match by just 4 runs. There were many useful contributions for Bangladesh. For instance, they had captain Nigar Sultana scoring 25, then Nahida Akhtar also scoring 25, Salma Khatun scoring 23, and Fargana Hope as well scoring 23 runs. However, their fight could not help them chase down the target of 141 posted by West Indies as they fell short of 4 runs. For West Indies, it was Hayley Matthews who was the pick of the bowlers as she picked up 4 for 15 in her 10 overs, also recording her career best ODI figures. Now, after this match, we can see that West Indies have won 3 out of their 5 matches, while Bangladesh have won 1 out of their 4 matches. Now, ahead of us, we have yet another exciting contest. It is between India and Australia. The match will be played tomorrow, 19th of March, at the Eden Park in Auckland, and it will start at 6:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. You can catch all the live action on Star Sports and Disney Plus Hotstar. Now, to talk more about this match between India and Australia, I have with me Dhanush Lavanya and Urvi Shah. So, Dhanush Lavanya is a content writer at Female Cricket, and Urvi Shah is a mental health facilitator and an avid cricket writer. I welcome both of you to Female Cricket Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, Dhanush, India and Australia, they are going to play the match tomorrow. It is going to be the 50th ODI that these two teams will be playing against each other. If we look at the head-to-head statistics, Australia have won 39 out of the 49 matches. India have won 10 out of the 49 matches. Of course, both the teams are coming from contrasting results. Australia coming from a good win over West Indies. India coming from a loss against England. Now, what do you think is going to be the approach of both these teams individually going into the match tomorrow?
This is a huge game in the context of the whole World Cup. Tomorrow's match is going to be maybe the biggest match if we see in the league stage so far because there are going to be two teams facing which have very big fan following, a huge fan base. There is going to be a big number of audience that's going to be watching tomorrow's game for sure. And it is important for Team India to make sure that they perform extremely well tomorrow because it's a do or die situation in a way for them. Unfortunately, they haven't been good with the bat in this whole tournament, apart from the West Indies match, where you can just say that it was a showcase of Smriti Mandana's and Harmanpreet Kaur's excellence. But apart from that, there wasn't much from the Indian batting. And England's match, we all know how horrible it was. It was a very bad dream for them. But on the other side, if you see Australia, their last two games, you have to be concerned as an Indian fan, as an Indian team, because they have shown that that they can just ruthlessly decimate the opponents because they they bundled out not West Indies for 130 and they bundled out New Zealand for 128 or so something. So definitely this Australian side is very different compared to what we can expect. Certainly they will also have the wounds of the 2017 World Cup semi-final, and they will be looking forward for that revenge as well in a way. But this Australia team is looking really lethal, and India's team has to make sure that their batting comes together on this day because it is important for them to get this win. If they lose tomorrow, it's a must-win situation, and they have to win the last two games, which is against Bangladesh and South Africa. And seeing how South Africa are winning those key moments in every single match, it's going to be a tough task for Team India. And tomorrow's game is really important for them, is what I feel. And Urvi, for from your perspective, being a mental health facilitator and seeing the mental side, the psychological side, how dominating this Australia team looks for you as a fan, and how Team India might be approaching against them tomorrow.
Yeah, interesting question. Um, for me, it is always a nervous start for India. Like as a fan, I'm always scared if it's Australia on the other end, or for the other teams, you're quite okay that okay we might just pull one off them. But we should not forget that India was the one who broke the winning streak of Australia. So, from if I see it from a psychological perspective for Team India, uh, they should not overestimate or underestimate Australia or themselves, because they have pulled victories against Australia before. The 10, even if it's 10 games head to head, they still have pulled wins, and we have some really good experience on our side. So we should actually back up on that and share the experience with the youngsters who are like new in the arena, and actually give them the space to give their best. For India, the only mantra that will work well is to just go out there and enjoy the game against Australia, because it's going to be a challenge. And knowing Team India, who feeds on such challenging situations, this should be the game where they let themselves free and actually play the game instead of taking the pressure. Just go with the flow of the game. Which also makes me come to the question, Julie. India's batting has been a concern, right? So, do you see Shafali Verma in any way coming back tomorrow, specifically against Australia? We know how she has been before against Australia. Do you see her coming back tomorrow?
Honestly, if you ask me, I don't think that India will make that change being in Shefali Verma. But also, I think a few days back, Nasir Hussain, during his commentary, said that you don't have to be good, but you have to be exceptional if you have to beat Australia. And only Shefali Verma can provide that exceptional bid to India. But I don't think probably Indian team management is listening to Nasir Hussain on that. And yeah, given the fact that Yastika did have a good match the other day, not against England, of course, but before that, she had a good match, scoring that quick fire 31 of 21. So I think India will stick to Yastika Bhati at the top of the order, and I don't think Shefali Verma has a chance. But yes, I would be looking at Deepti Sharma from close quarters, because she did not have a good game with both bat and ball the other day against England. And it will be important for her to cement her place at the number 4 slot for India, because that is going to be an important spot given the fact that Mithali Raj will be coming in at 3 and Deepti Sharma at 4. So it will be important for Deepti Sharma also to contribute with the bat. So yes, I feel that Indian batting, they need some work. Of course, as Dhanush mentioned, that apart from Smriti Mandhana and Harmanpreet Kaur, who hit those blistering centuries against West Indies, and of course Pooja Vastrakar and Sneh Rana, they're bowling all-rounders. But yes, they made some useful contributions with the bat against Pakistan. Rest of the batting has not looked good. Richa Ghosh, of course, she has looked good against England. She scored 30 odd runs, so that was helpful. Jhulan Goswami also contributed with the bat, scoring 20. So there are bits and pieces contribution for India in terms of batting, but yes, we need a full-fledged big knock from somebody, and who better then can it be than Captain Mithali Raj? And I think Jhulan Goswami also said that Mithali Raj is just one big knock away from getting back to form. So let us hope that tomorrow is that day when Mithali Raj scores those big runs. All right, that is what I feel about the batting. Now, moving on to you, Dhanush, Talia Megra, the Australian all-rounder, she said that India is a world-class side and they will not take them lightly. The approach will be the similar, what they have been following. But if we look at the bilateral series, the multi-format series that was played between India and Australia last year, we had pretty close games in the ODIs. Despite Australia winning the series 2-1, we know that the second and the third ODI was very close. It went all the way down the wire. So do you see India putting up a strong show tomorrow, or do you expect a one-sided affair?
Expecting Team India to put up a good show, a competitive performance for sure, because India is in a similar situation like how England were when they faced against India, because they have to make sure that they get these wins, and they don't want to keep it till the last game and take that pressure for such a long time. Especially tomorrow's game is a big game for Team India, and as far as the bowling unit is concerned, for as far as the team is concerned, the approach will be same for us from Australia, because they are one of the most professional sides in the whole tournament. They know how to play every single team. They are going to sit out there and make out their ideas. And I was just reading an article about how their coach Matthew Moth was feeling about tomorrow's game, and he said that the same approach is going to be continuing, which is take the early wickets. The previous two games we saw them New Zealand and West Indies were bundled out for 134 because of those early wickets in the power play. So they will be going with the same approach against India as well. And with India having a very fragile batting unit in this tournament, it is going to be a big challenge for the Indians to step up and perform against a very good side in Australia. And also the batters, along with facing against a team like them, they should also face against the fear of their own form. They haven't been confident in this tournament at all, and the batting hasn't been to the standards that they can really come up to. So expect that there is a lot of homework to be done for Team India. And as you said, they might have had close results against them in the previous series, but that's around 6 7 months ago. And now Team India's mindset, if you see the 6 7 days mindset of Team India, it's not been so good. So I feel that it's a very important match for Team India more than Australia. If Australia wins, they are into the semi-finals. They are already into the semi-finals in a way. But tomorrow, if they win, they seal that stamp as the first team to go into the semi-finals. So it's a big game for India, and the ball is in India's court. And Urvi, from a team's perspective, like Australia, they have a very good side. They're a complete side. And now, as we are speaking about, is there a need for changes? You were asking that, is there a need for bringing in Shafali Verma for Yastika Bhatia or anything, because Shafali has had good performances against them. But I don't feel that that's a need for Team India right now, because if they do too many changes, that's going to affect the whole team's playing 11 itself. In a way that has affected to West Indies, because they have done 3 4 changes over the last couple of games, and today's game was a close game for them, unfortunately, and they were fortunate enough to win by 4 runs. But if India do it, I don't feel that that will happen, and they won't everything the mistakes that are happening right now won't be undone if they just bring in Shafari Verma, because Shafari Verma also isn't been doing well when it comes to the bat. So I feel that she is not going to be the ideal player for tomorrow. I just hope that Team India performs to their standards, and they have it, but unfortunately they haven't been able to show it when it comes to big games. So, Judy, my question is to you now. The bowling unit of Australia looks really lethal, and the batting is very fragile. Do you fear India's batting being bundled out the same way West Indies and New Zealand experienced? And do you feel, apart from Mithali Raj, it's the responsibility of young Yastika Bhatia also to give those starts and make sure those big partnerships are happening?
I think it will be important for India to score big tomorrow if we get a chance to bat first, at least 250. 250 is again a conservative number given the fact that Australia is in red hot form. So at least 250 should be scored. And for that, I think Smriti Mandhana, who has been in phenomenal touch against Australia. If we look at her statistics, she has played 10 ODIs against them and has 421 runs, which is an average of 42.1, which is the highest in terms of the batting averages that any Indian batter has against Australia. So yes, Smriti Mandhana will be the key player from the Indian perspective, and it will be important that she, along with Yastika Bhatia, give a good start to India. And if India are able to play out the early spell of Megan Shoot, Perry, Brown, whatever combination they may come in, then I think as the wicket will ease, because we have to consider the fact that it is going to be rainy and cloudy conditions tomorrow with more than 80% chance of rain. So we can expect some swing in play tomorrow. So it will be important if India wins the toss and elects to bat first. It will be important for them to play out the new ball and tackle all the swing that is there. And maybe then the middle order can capitalize on the start that has been laid by Mandhana and Bhatia, and of course Mithali Raj also. And honestly, the Australian bowling attack, they have been able to bundle out the teams like New Zealand and West Indies cheaply. But if we look at the wickets taken, it is Ashley Gardner and Alana King who have 5 wickets. So it is pretty surprising. And Rajeshwari Gaikwad has 8 wickets. So these players, I think, in unison they have performed well, but there has not been a standout bowler from the Australian perspective, because Ashley Gardner, who's more of a batting all-rounder, she has 5 wickets, which is the highest for Australia. And Alana King, of course, she also has 5 wickets. So honestly, Australians, they are doing well, but I don't think that they're bowling. So there is any one particular threat bowler from the Australian perspective. So I think if the Indian batters are able to apply themselves well, I think they should be able to get through tomorrow's match, and hopefully we see India win tomorrow. So, Urvi, what do you think are the chances of rain playing the spoil sport? Because more than 80%, chance of rain being there. So, do you think that we'll have an abundant match, or we'll have a rain curtailed affair? What do you think will happen? And if in any which ways, I think I don't know. I was discussing with some of my friends few hours back that if it rains and the match is washed out, probably it is in India's favor. At least they'll get 1 point. Because right now, if we see, India may not win the match tomorrow and lose the 2 points. What do you think will happen?
I honestly cannot speak about the weather here because I have no idea how the winds turn their face every time. But yeah, as the forecast says, we definitely do have chances of a shortened match or an abandoned match. But even if a short version of the match happens, like we are playing limited overs instead of 50 overs, it's reduced to like let's say 25 or 30 overs. I do somewhere see it working in India's favor because this will be a challenge, honestly, because Australia, who is prone to having play in bits and pieces, like you mentioned. I was reading an article which said that Australia, the main players of Australia haven't really fired up yet, right? It is always in bits and pieces that they have performed, and those bits and pieces have come together as a team, and that's why the wins are happening. But if you take out one player, two player, it is going to disturb their whole scenario. So that might affect their game more than India's game, because India is someone who can adjust to any situation. The resilience in this team is very high, and we know that we have played under different conditions. So it is very likely that it is going to work in India's favor. If it gets abandoned, then it is 1 point each. If not, I definitely do somewhere see India winning this one instead of Australia tomorrow. Which also, Dhanush, I would like to know, you were talking about making changes and to avoid making changes in the game tomorrow from the Indian perspective. Um, I somewhere do feel that getting Poonam Yadav can actually work in India's favor against Australia. Like we have seen her previous performances, and even if we keep the previous performances aside, if we have a fresh energy, a fresh mindset coming into the squad, that can actually work in India's favor, because Poonam Yadav has not played a game so far in World Cup, if I'm not wrong, and seeing her play and bring that fresh energy and fresh change in the squad can actually work in India's favor. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely that can be a thought for sure. But the question arises whom you will replace with. Because the Indian bowling unit has been exceptional. If you see the best wicket takers in this tournament, I guess three of them come in the top 10. So Meghna Singh has been really good. Julan Goswami has been living up to her legendary status and giving the support to Meghna Singh in a way, and has been bowling extremely well. And then when it comes to Rajeshwari Gaikwad, she has been really good as well with the ball. And then Sneh Rana and Deepti Sharma are contributing enough when it comes to the support. So now the question arises: where will we bring in Poonam Yadav? Will you drop out Deepti Sharma and bring in Poonam Yadav in order and try to go with a one less batsman and a more stronger bowling unit? Because if you see the Australian batters, the top four of Australia, if you see, they have really good records against Team India. And Alessi Helly, Meg Lanning, Rachel Haynes, and Beth Mooney. Beth Mooney is someone who hasn't been that big in this World Cup so far. She has got those 20s, 30s till now, but she is also a dark horse in that playing 11, whom many are underestimating, or in a way we can say not taking that much seriously, because she hasn't been given that amount of balls, or she hasn't got that many deliveries to face, because the top order has been doing really good job. So now especially she has like 600 plus runs against Team India. So she is also be going to be lethal. The whole batting order of Australia are really good against Team India. So it's going to be a very good contest between Australia's batting and India's bowling. So Poonam Yadav is definitely a very good choice to bring in. But the question arises whom we will drop. Will you drop Deepti Sharma or will you drop any other player? Julie, what do you say? Anything to add on this? Any
Uh,
player you feel can replace,
hmm.
can Poonam Yadav replace instead of?
Yeah. Yeah, I think as you said, it is difficult because the question again will be who will replace, Poonam Yadav will replace who in the playing 11. And also I was looking at the ground dimensions. The square boundaries are smaller. So if you get a leg spinner, right, so it will be very easy for the Australians to go to their back foot and just pull Poonam Yadav, because we all know that she's slow and loopy in the air. So maybe that could be another reason that India may not play Poonam Yadav. But yes, I agree with Urvi to some extent that probably getting that fresh energy can be useful. But I don't see Poonam Yadav playing the match tomorrow. And now Urvi, who
If I'm not wrong, the Auckland Stadium is that rugby stadium, right, where the rugby matches happen. The men's cricket match also happens there. Yeah, that stadium is like in one end it is like 50-55 meter, the other end is like 75 meters. So yeah, leg spinner they can, if they just wait a bit more and go for a hit, definitely they will hit some big sixes against leg spinners for sure. That is going to be a concern, and let us see. It's more about pacer friendly approach because, as you said, the conditions are more towards overcast and swinging and windy. So the fast bowlers will get those swing is what I feel when it comes to overcast conditions. The fast bowlers must be given more approach than the spinners in tomorrow's game.
maybe somebody like Renuka Singh may also get a chance. But again, the question is, who will she replace in the team? All right. So as we are talking, Rajeshwari has a question for us. If the match is reduced to T20 or a limited format, we can see changes in the playing 11. Shefali Verma in 11. So who will be out? Urvi, I think Dhanush and I think we have spoken about Shefali Verma. Now I would like you to answer. Do you think Shefali Verma will make her way into the playing 11 tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe if we opt out with Dipti Sharma, if she switches with Dipti Sharma, we can have Yastika Bhatia come one down the order, and we can actually change the batting order somewhere. I think we can afford going one bowler short here and have one batter in instead, because that can actually strengthen the top order. Now, if I see it from my perspective, Shefali Verma will come with a very different mindset when she comes to play tomorrow. If she happens to be in the playing 11, she'll come with a very different mindset, which is to connect the ball, play her shots, which will be very clear in her approach. So that can actually work a lot in India's favor and actually put Australia on a back foot, because they might just expect her to have another downfall. So maybe we can have her in place of Dipti Sharma if the format is like a limited over format or coming down to T20. Again, if it is 50 over format, I might just be dicey about that decision. But if it's like a reduced form, then why not? We can definitely have her in.
I think we are getting another question. It is from Lakshmi Kanya Murli. Since there is a rain prediction, win the toss and bowl first to get the advantage of Duckworth and Lewis method, or bat first against a box side. Dhanush, what do you think the captain winning the toss should do tomorrow?
That's a challenge when it comes to a rain curtained match. You don't know how the wicket behaves. We always have this mind. I always have this mindset that you when you win the toss in these kind of conditions where the wicket is wet, where the outfield is wet and the conditions are not so good, and I feel that if you win the toss, you go to bowl first because you will get that swing and all those stuff. The ball will get wet early, so the spinners won't get much much of spin from there. But it will be helpful for the bowlers because of the overcast conditions around the ground, and the ball will be swinging for sure. If the textbook explanation is simple, when the conditions are overcast, the ball will definitely spin and definitely swing. So it's going to be win the toss and chase first, but it depends upon how the teams are thinking. If you say like how we said, if they bring in Shefali Verma, and Team India will be like winning the toss and go and bat first so that they can give as many runs as possible. Shafali Verma will be having one mindset: come in and just smash from the very first delivery, because the overs are less and they have to put as many runs as possible. So it's going to be a tricky situation. I don't know how the teams are going to think when these kind of rain and all these interruptions arise.
Also, I think having a fixed target that will help because we have to chase only these many runs, so we'll not take that extra risk also. All right. So Kishore Kumar Bhaisare has a question for us. Indian team management should be considering bringing Shefali Verma in place of Dipti Sharma. I think Urvi, he listened to you, and Kaur can be used as sixth bowling option. Anybody? Urvi, you want to again take this up? Maybe you can take the next part. Kaur can be used as the sixth bowling option.
Yeah, probably because we do have Sneha Rana, Rajeshwari Gaikwad, Meghna Singh, Julian Goswami, and having Kaur as a sixth bowling option can obviously work in India's favor again, because it's a surprise element coming in. She hasn't bowled so far in the World Cup because our bowling unit has been very intact. So yeah, if they do go with one extra batter, then they definitely have a extra bowler in form of Harmanpreet Kaur. So yeah, they can actually give this thing a thought for tomorrow's match.
Also, and Harmanpreet Kaur won the Player of the Series in the WBBL thanks to her all-round effort. So she contributed with the
Yes.
ball as well. So we all know that she can be quite handful with the ball. Dhanush, what do you think? Should Harmanpreet be the sixth bowling option for India? And maybe Deepti Sharma replacing, Shefali replacing Deepti?
If Shefali replaces Deepti, I surely see Harman having a go with the ball. But we had a discussion about this thing in the previous conversation where we had Niranjana Nagarajan, and she said that the bowling unit is already doing well. Why do we need to even think of giving the ball to Harmanpreet Kaur? So definitely, it's going to be a very good opportunity. The mindset will be simple. If they replace Shafali with Deepti, Harmanpreet Kaur will definitely ball, is what I feel. But if they don't go with that approach, if they don't have any changes like that, I don't see her bowling because it's not the need of the hour.
Right. All right, okay. So Wheel of Time has a question for me. Okay, half the World Cup is done and still Sneh is being made to bat lower. She's the Jason Holder of the team, yet is not given the push. Baffling. So I think honestly, yeah, all credit to Sneh Rana. There's no disrespecting the fact that she's a great batter, but India already has a set top five and top six rather, with Richa Ghosh coming in at six. So I don't think there is a need to push Sneh Rana. So what we saw in the test matches in England, that was a different ball game altogether. But Sneh Rana in the limited formats, I think she's suitable to bat at seven or eight. So I don't think she can be pushed up the order. Any differing thoughts from me, both of you?
No, I would just say, like, I would just like to add to your answer is, um, if we have someone like Sneerana batting down the order, we do have some amount of surety that we are still getting runs on board. So if we get her up the order and we lose her early, then it still puts us on the back foot. So I do agree with Julie that if we have someone like that where she is and have the top order fixed, there is literally no need to do too many changes in the batting order here.
I
Dhanush,
will
do you
say she
think?
is Ravindra Jadeja in the women's format for Team India.
Yeah.
Ravindra Jadeja is the similar kind of a player, plays at
Yes.
number 7, number 8. He is very good with the ball and is really good with the bat as well. And Sneran also. The finishing duty is her role,
Yeah.
and she is doing it pretty well till now.
Pretty well.
And I don't see her coming at number 4 or number 5. There is no need of it.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So before we close, quick predictions, both of you. Urvi, who do you think will win? And also, if you can share the scores, what do you think will happen in the match tomorrow?
Yeah. If we happen to bat first and it's a proper 50 over game, not like a DL method, but if it's a 50 over game, I do see India somewhere around 275, 280, like that range, because I do not want to underestimate our batters who are going to come in fresh after a not so good game. But yeah, and if Australia happens to bat first, I would rather see them somewhere around 230, 240, because I really trust our bowling unit to not let them past 250.
From a
Dhanush,
tournament
what about you?
perspective, I feel India must win from a tournament perspective because it's going to continue our excitement and our permutations and combinations on who will make it to the top 4 and join South Africa and Australia. But Australia are just having the perfect time, perfect 11. Everything is clicking for them. Like how we say, anything that they touch turns into gold. So that is how they are performing right now. As far as scoring is concerned, I feel that they will have that aggressive attacking approach with the bat and ball. And if they bat first and if it's a 50 overs game, I feel they will be scoring upwards 270 to 300 easily because that's how good they are when it comes to batting. Even though India has a very good bowling unit, I feel that with the amount of experience that they have against Indian bowlers, they know how to play against them. If it's a overcast condition on all these stuff, certainly I don't know how the scoring rate will be. Let us hope that it's a full 50 over game and competitive matches happen between bat and ball between these two sides. Hope for the best. From my heart, I will say it's India wins, but looking at the situation, I feel Australia might take this.
I would agree to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Maybe just before we close, I would just like to say that as Urvi mentioned about the winning streak, so last year India was able to break Australia's 26 match winning streak. So let us hope that India again they are able to break this 4 match winning streak of Australia tomorrow. All right. Yeah, okay, fingers crossed. Okay, great. So once again, thank you Urvi and Dhanush for talking to us about the exciting contest between India and Australia that we are going to witness tomorrow. The match will be played at the Eden Park in Auckland and it will start at 6:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time tomorrow, that is 19th of March. So do tune in to Star Sports and Disney Plus Hotstar to catch all the live action. And we'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. to review the match between India and Australia. So do send us your questions using hashtag Female Cricket Live and join us for a conversation tomorrow at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.